Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for attending the 888 Voip overview of Snom products. My name is John Zader. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at 888 Voip. And today we're going to do a quick overview of the Snom product line. And we have a couple of the special guests, Jim Cassidy from Snom, as well as Corey Cather, who will be presenting here shortly after my quick overview of 888 Voip. As a quick introduction, I'm going to reintroduce 888 Voip if you're unfamiliar, and talk about some of the differences that we provide as a value-added distributor. So 888 Voip is a value-added distributor for many of the leading voice over IP hardware and software solutions that are out there today. Notably, the Snom product line, which we're going to talk about further. Some of the differences that 888 Voip offers compared to other options out there in the market today, we do offer basic and advanced provisioning so that we can provide you with logistics and fulfillment support so that you don't have to worry about any of the URL integrations or deployment integrations. We can help support your business on that. We do offer API integrations. We also offer full cycle logistics, device as a service program, as well as nationwide distribution. Some of the things that are new over at 888 Voip, we are expanding our Buffalo warehouse facilities and have recently. The most important thing that we're going to talk really about today, other than the Snom product lines, is our West Coast presence in our West Coast warehouse. We do have a West Coast warehouse in Reno, Nevada, in which we have provisioning, sales, and support services out of that warehouse. That is a main focus for us in 2022, and we're super excited about our West Coast presence going forward. We did grow our internal team by adding additional sales folks, tech team members, as well as customer service associates. And we have widened our product portfolio to offer full solutions for our partners that are out selling voice over IP services today. So some of the benefits of why work with 888 Voip. The benefits that you get when you work with 888 Voip is the customer service aspect. We are focused on making sure our partners have all of the knowledge and support at their fingertips. We have dedicated, knowledgeable channel sales managers as well as engineers, and our folks are certified on all of the products that we do sell. This way, you don't have to worry about all of the questions that you may have about a manufacturer. You can reach out to our sales folks, and we're going to be able to answer most of those questions for you and help support your business. We do offer support before, during, and after a sale. So if you do have questions, before a sale, maybe, with coming up with some ideas, or you do have an issue during your installation and you need to lean on us for support, we do offer all of those things for our partners today. And then you have access to our Channel Advantage program, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Our Channel Advantage program is our back-end services program for our ITSPs, our VARs, and our service providers. The Channel Advantage program really is about making it easier to do business with from a logistics and fulfillment side. So as we spoke about earlier, we do offer technical support on all of the products that go out of our doors. We do have multiple fulfillment options. So we do have our East Coast warehouse, our West Coast warehouse, and we will ship from whatever's closest to your customer. We do offer full cycle logistics. We do offer private inventory. So as the production and supply chain issues continue to occur, we do have options to do private warehousing, private inventory, where we can hold your stock in our warehouses and ship it when you need it. We also offer advanced API options so that if you do have a customer-facing website in which customers are ordering product and services from your website, The fulfillment can be done by us, where we can line ship product right to your end users and then get that billing package started right away. Support is one of our keys. You do have knowledgeable and certified technical engineers at your disposal. We do have tech support based upon your requirements. We do have business hours, obviously 8 to 5 Eastern Standard Time is what we work, but we do have after hours and weekend support if needed, but those are usually a paid service. And we do have some one-on-one personal and technical training available. Again, those are paid options that need to be scheduled a little bit in advance. However, we are here to support your business. Full cycle logistics. We can help our partners from start to finish. So from the pre-sales network assessment phase to quoting, ordering, provisioning, tracking, shipping, support, full cycle logistics. We can help you throughout that whole phase. We do offer wholesale discount pricing. We have streamlined ordering through APIs. We also have a partner portal in which you can process orders through. We do tracking and instant confirmation with MAC address confirmations, serial number, emails, and tracking information. We do same day shipping. We do blind drop shipping, and we do pack, pick, and ship for our private inventory partners. We do offer provisioning services both in our East Coast and our West Coast warehouses. So we do scan and send serial numbers and MAC addresses at the time of picking the package. We do offer the capability of doing marketing materials and box inserts into the box when we are doing the provisioning. We can do custom profile uploading. We can do asset tagging, and we also do box and device labels so that when the product arrives at your customer location, they know exactly where that phone should go. Some of the other things that our services include, we do have a buyback program. We do offer RMA services. We do some in-person trainings. We do educational webinars like today, and we do offer some warehousing options as well. Contact us anytime. You can reach out to sales@888voip.com, or you can reach out to team@888voip.com. Someone on our team would be happy to assist you with any of your Snom needs, and we'd be happy to help you out. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this off to Jim Cassidy from Snom, and he'll go into the Snom product line a little bit further.
Hey Jim, I'm gonna butt in and introduce myself real quick.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm Corey Cather. To Jim's follow-up, we are excited about the working with 888 in the West Coast warehouse, and I think John, if I'm not mistaken, everything pretty much ships in the West Coast from 1 to 3 days from Reno, right?
Yes, for the most part, yeah, for the most part, 1 to 3 days is pretty good. And we typically will we'll pick the fastest shipping route. So if it's Buffalo or Reno, whatever ships the quickest is where we'll ship from, as long as the inventory is there. But 1 to 3 is a pretty good barometer.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks. Sorry about that. I was eager to get caught. I forgot all about my co-host. So thanks, Corey. I appreciate it. So what we'll do here is we'll start off doing a quick little background on Snom. I want to introduce you basically to the company, who it is, our background, and so forth. And then we'll break up the presentation into usually desk phones first, mobility, and then conference phones. So we'll try to cover them in segments. Then after we're done with this portion, I'll be able to show you a good glimpse of what's coming this year. So first of all, just wanted to give a quick overview of Snom, who they are and where we came from. So Snom has been around for many years, I think probably at least over 10, 15 years or so. Recently, I guess about 6 years ago, VTech Communications, the ones that make all the phones for the retail side, VTech purchased the Snom company in Europe, and we brought the Snom devices to the U.S. for sale here domestically. The company's been around for a long time. We have engineering based in Germany to manufacture all the Snom phones. And basically, without too much further deep dive on the company, I'll get into our hardware and the benefits of Snom. So let's start with desk phones, which is the D7 series. This product is all currently on the market today. We'll start with our high end and work our way down the product line. This is the D785, definitely our best selling phone within the product line. And this also represents pretty much the sweet spot industry wide. So in all the different brands, this is the kind of feature pack here that kind of leads the way in this business. Key things to note, you'll notice up here we have 3-year warranty on our products. This is an industry leading feature that Snom offers. 3-year warranty on our hardware. And we're able to do this based on the unique functionality of our phone. If you notice our handset here, one of the things that we do differently than all the other manufacturers is we actually have a solid state hook switch where we don't have the actual physical plunger, the physical hook switch that goes bad on a phone. This actually works off magnetic technology where it hangs up a phone call. So where other phones tend to die out over time quickly because that little plunger spring goes bad, we don't have that issue on these phones due to the engineering in Germany that we've done. So it definitely separates us apart as a higher end manufacturer right away in those kinds of functionalities. And a 3-year warranty is unheard of. Most everyone else in the industry has 1 year. When we go down here to our next piece in the line, which is the D735, slightly smaller screen here. We do have a very unique feature here, which is a motion sensor that will actually light up the phone as you go to reach for the handsets and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty unique functionality. Nobody actually has that currently in this industry other than us. Then we move down to the D717. This is our entry-level color screen phone with 6 SIP accounts. This is a great starter price point with a color screen and 4 functionality keys that you see going across here that change with the display. So really, really aggressive price point here for an entry-level color price point. And then we move down to our monochrome, which is the basic piece in the line, which is D120. There's tons of different options once you get down to a crazy price point in this industry. Our monochrome there is a decent selling phone. It's there to support and round out the rest of the line. But most of the business in this industry right now is being done with the color screen.
And Jim, can I just add in here too? One of the biggest benefits of being a Snom partner right now is inventory on hand. With our warehouse in San Antonio, we actually have all of these phones on hand, ready to ship to distribution. So big benefit right now. Everything's ready to go.
Yep, completely agreed. And that's key right now, Corey, like you mentioned, because with everybody's availability on product right now with the global supply chain issues out there, it is key to note that Snom will be in stock and is in stock at 888 in both of their warehouses as well as our corporate warehouse in San Antonio. So we are able to support the business where I know a lot of people are having trouble on delivery right now. The next piece we have in the lines and monochrome sidecar or BLF field key. You can add 3 of these via the USB port on the side of any of our D7 series phones. And then we also have the D7C, which is the color version sidecar, which will go to any of the D7 series phones. And here's just a quick illustration. I want to make a key point here that for the first sidecar that attaches via the USB port, the USB port is a standard 5 volts by all specs. So that first 5-volt port powers this first sidecar. After that, these next 2 sidecars can run off of one AC power adapter sold separately, and it'll power these next 2. And that's also the same for the monochrome version that you see to the right. One of the other things that we've done here too is we've added DEC dongles to go in the USB ports, and then also the Wi-Fi dongle to go in the USB ports. And we also tie it into something you'll see later in the presentation, which is an extended conference phone piece, but I'll tie that in as we get to that later in the presentation. So just a quick recap here of what we have in the desk phone portion of the line. Like I said, real solid lineup, aggressively priced. We'll come in, you'll have your opening price point people, you'll have us, and then you'll have higher price point people above us. So we fit a nice niche out there with nice margins, a nice protected business. And one of the key things that we do with the Snom brand too is we have the dealer authorization program. So with the dealer authorization program, what we try to do is to make sure that our product is not footballed around online. Too many products are getting onto the Amazons of the world, and once you do that, you lose control of your pricing integrity and so on and so forth. So we've made it a very major point for us to actually get dealers signed up and authorized. When people fill out our dealer authorization form at snomamericas.com, when they send in their profile, if somebody's sending in that they do 100% of their business on Amazon or on eBay or something of that nature, that's obviously not the kind of partners we're looking for. We're looking for partners that actually need to sell, make margin, and can service the accounts. It's really not an online business in our opinion, especially for our products. The next portion of what I want to talk about here is part of our mobility series, and this product is Keyline, and we'll get into what that is and just make sure everybody understands Keyline and how it functions. So this is a look at a closed system. Obviously, it'll work on any SIP provider or virtually any SIP platform. But basically what we have here is an access point called the M100 KLE, which is basically where your access point comes in at, and then within that device is a DEX 6.0 cordless radio. And from there, the handsets, the 10 KLE and the 10R, which is the ruggedized handset, and also the M18, which is a cordless desk phone, even though you see the cord to the handset, but it's actually a cordless desk phone. So your line would come in and you would tie it to the M100 KLE. From there, any of the other devices are all cordless. So basically what this stops you from having to do is run home run wires and lines throughout somebody's office, and it makes an install super, super easy because everything pairs cordlessly back to the M100 KLE.
And Jim, just to clarify, I know you're saying cordless, but the M18 it has a rechargeable battery in it. So you theoretically could just charge that battery, take the entire phone with you to, say, the front counter of a restaurant, put it on the front there and answer phone calls from the restaurant at the front. And then you can, obviously have the people walking around the building take the M10 or M10R, but the M18 truly is decked portable. It just has to plug in to charge the battery, but you can move that throughout the building to use the desk set.
Exactly. Yeah, we've done different trade shows and events at different people's warehouses, or had like an outside expo under a tent and whatnot. And the cool thing about that M18 is because of the battery backup, which is in the back of the phone, that M18 can actually be carried around the parking lot, and you can sit it on someone's desk and use it outside without having to run a line to it. Yeah, great feature. It'll support 6 concurrent calls at a time with 8 total SIP accounts. And the key thing I want to get across about this product is it is what we call KLE, or Line Emulation. And I'll show a little bit more to you here on this next slide. Okay, so from here, one of the big benefits that we have is Keyline. So try to think of the environment where these phones are placed. If you're dealing with franchise locations, especially something like pizza shops, restaurants, stores and malls, etc., a lot of these companies have a high turnover of people that are working at the store. And when you have that, the problem you have is with typical SIP phones or PBX type functionality, people actually have to be trained to learn how to use the phone. So what we've done is use the Keyline emulation process here, where you can see our key lines here, say line 1, line 2, line 3, and line 4. So now your employee immediately can start working at the job and not have to be trained on how to use a phone. They just press the blinking line 1 or line 2 or line 3 or line 4 key and answer the call. There's a hold button right below it where you can put it on hold and answer the next line. So it makes it super easy to get employees up to speed quickly to use the phone system instead of trying to park.
Yeah, and if there's a fast-paced environment, obviously, like you get into restaurants and retail, just simply the time to park and retrieve, it's much easier, much cleaner with the KLE system.
Indeed. And I'd recommend here, if you get a chance, and we can make this available obviously after, and I believe 888 is going to post this online. But you see the YouTube video link here. If you get a chance, go on there and look at it and explain. It actually shows in depth how easy these things are to be able to use from a keyline emulation standpoint. So if you get a chance, check out the YouTube video online after we get done the webinar, and it'll explain more about keyline. So we have a lot of different testimonials. I can tell you that there are many, many, many companies throughout this country who are using our keyline systems because of the ease of use. Okay, so now let's get into more about mobility. So we have what's called single cell users. So single cell is one access point that can go X number of feet on cordless handsets. And we'll show you the first piece in the product line for now, which is the M325. So this is your access point that's got a DEX 6.0 radio in it. DEX 6.0 is the FCC's allocated frequency channels for everything cordless. It has the maximum range allowable by FCC law. And basically from here, we have a bunch of different handsets that compare onto this base. In this case, we're going to show the M325, the M25, sorry, handset. You'll have a small little colored display on it, but you'll have 20 different SIP accounts, and you can run 5 different concurrent calls. So this is for that small or micro size business that would be able to have mobility, be able to move around, and be able to just have a low cost deployment with only one single cell. And we'll get into more about this and repeaters as we move along. The next section here is multi-cell. So now when you're talking about a more enterprise type environment, like the picture shown here of this building, you're talking about a much more complicated RF environment to try to cover a facility of this nature. It can't just be a single cell because the DEX 6.0 range won't cover through all these walls and floors and everything else. So what we have here, and I actually need to change out some of this, but the M900 is the product that's out there now. This product is a multi-cell type application where you can put out one of these M900s and any of the handsets, which we'll see in a minute, and you can walk from that cell point around the building and so forth on access of calls. You can put up to 4,000 of these base stations in a location. So if you think about something like the University of Michigan or something like that with many different buildings on campus, you can technically wire these M900s all over the campus and be able to roam freely, just like a cellular phone almost, from cell site to cell site and never drop a call. And you can put up to 16,000 handsets on the system. So this is much more for a large enterprise type environment.
And Jim, I think we've seen some in some kind of unique places like an indoor miniature golf location, hospitals, obviously, things like that. But I think one of the other things, some manufacturing place locations with just a large open area. But there's a lot of places where it's not just the number of handsets, but just simply the size of the footprint that makes a difference, where this is incredibly helpful.
Yes, absolutely agreed. So here's the different variable handsets that will all attach to the M900. All of them have their own reasons for existence. Mostly what you want to look at down here is the extras. So the vibration alert and belt clip, then you start stepping up the line. And one of the powerful features that we've been finding out there, especially in light of today's crazy world, is you'll see here listed as a man down button. And that's on the top of these handsets right here. You can just barely see a tick of it in red here. That's a dedicated key that you can program to do whatever function you want. So a big application right now is tying this into security systems. Large security providers, as well as small ones, can have that programmed to automatically one-touch dial a call center. So especially one that's monitored in case of an emergency, an active shooter, or a crisis that happens on site in a facility where somebody may get injured or whatnot and needs assistance. So if you have security tied into the location you're dealing with in these cases, that man down key is an invaluable piece of feature capability that these phones have. And then you work your way up the product line here, all the way up to the M90 at the top of the line, which is it's antibacterial handset. And this is mostly used even into the medical type applications because of the antibacterial plastics in this phone. It's also ruggedized and can handle, it's weatherproof and so on and so forth. I think it's an IP65 spec rated product. So this piece here it's a very tiny little handset, but can certainly take a beating. The M70, M80, they're all ruggedized handsets, same with the 85. So these things are built for more of an industrial type application. The M700 was the old version, so the M900 is actually the one. I probably need to take that slide out. Sorry, folks. All right, so the M900, we covered this one. And then we have an M5 deck repeater. So we can put those M900s all over the place, as we talked about earlier. But let's say you just wanted to get coverage in like the corner of a warehouse where maybe you're just running out of range. It's like, man, if I could just get this last 20 little feet over here, or these last 100 feet or so, then this M5 is a little repeater that pairs back to the closest M900 and will cover little blackout spots from an RF standpoint. This is just an idea of all the handsets and then pairing back to the multi-cell base units. And multi-cell, as I talked about earlier, where you can actually take a handset and walk between these M900s and still not drop a call and still be able to function. Nobody will even know you walked down a range of one and into the next one. It's just a quick illustration that we've done with some of the different companies, especially in like manufacturing and so on, where they've had multiple buildings next to each other or even on vertical floors on top of each other, like in a high-rise building. To be able to get through a concrete floor up to the next level very much used to be a serious challenge for this industry. But now with the multi-cell capability of the M900, you can actually cover multiple floors without having to try to run wires and everything else. It used to be a massive challenge in this industry. Now it's actually a very easy and much more low-cost solution nowadays. I mentioned about a multi-cell campus type environment or hospital type facility, and this is just imagery that shows you what that kind of facility would look like and how you could put handsets and base units around the facility to cover such an environment. And that's actually an example of 230 base units and 600 phones that are on that facility there to the right in the hospital. So it can definitely cover a large environment where before that used to be almost impossible. Then the M25 handsets, I kind of went through the handsets, so I'll just briefly and quickly go through these. One of the cool things I did want to mention here too was you'll notice that we have this handset takes 2 AAA rechargeable batteries. So unlike a lot of other products that have battery packs that are NiCad or lithium ion or so on and so forth, AAA rechargeable batteries are found everywhere. So it just makes it much more convenient for people if they have to swap out batteries, you know, because of heavy use or whatnot. But you'll see that 75 hours of standby and 7 hours of talk time usually will get you through most of your workday. Just a quick illustration of some of the extra handsets here that go on the system.
Hey, Jim, do you have the slide with the kind of self-diagnostic?
That's actually coming up here in just a tick.
Okay, good.
Oops. Oh, maybe I don't. Okay, so I thought I had that slide still in there. One of the things that makes it really unique also, going back one on these things, there are other options on how to cover a multi-cell type environment, but unfortunately they require antennas, and microwave engineers need to come out there and measure and test and put up all these range finders and so forth. It looks like a NASA experiment. In our case here, what we have is built even right into the display screen on the phones. So if you put an M900 somewhere in a building and you take the handset and you start to walk, you know, away from the base unit, the M900, When you put it in program mode, it will actually tell you that you're getting to the edge of its signal strength level. And then that basically tells you where you need to put your next M900 repeater. In the past, this was an absolute nightmare from some of the other systems, and there are still some of them out there for sale nowadays, but the cost of deployment is absolutely unrealistic. So here you can actually, the handset will actually tell you, okay, I'm going out of range, put another M900 here. So it makes it really easy to deploy this system, and you don't have to be a microwave engineer on how to figure it out.
Yeah, there's not a whole level of training that you have to go through necessarily. It's a pretty easy process for the for the partner, but also even for the end user for that matter, to be able to see where the bases should go.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, the next portion of it we wanted to cover here was conferencing solutions. So Snom was the first to release the first conference phone that had cordless microphones that would charge in the base unit. So you'll see the illustration of these two microphones. They charge in these slots here in the conference phone. So it's SIP based, and you have two cordless mics. So most of the time when you have conference phones in a boardroom of some nature, it always seems as though you end up all crowded around the conference phone, leaning over the table and screaming into the conference phone because nobody thinks they can be heard. So what we decided to do was take the cordless microphones and charge in the base and put them out so that you can pass them around a boardroom table or just sit them out around the table. That way not everyone ends up hunched over the boardroom table yelling into the conference phone. Of course, the base still has its own microphones as well, but it's really cool to be able to take those cordless mics and walk around, especially if you're trying to do a presentation or whatnot, be hands-free, and throw that in your shirt pocket or whatever and still be able to communicate. 12 hours of talk time per each of these cordless microphones, so it'll last more than a business day of phone calls. So really interesting product. It was we first brought this out, and we actually have patents on this technology here. So unique piece. Also, once again, the whole product line has a 3-year warranty as well. This next piece, the C52SP, is a cordless extension speaker of the C52 that we just showed you and the upcoming one I'm about to show you. So you can actually pair 3 of these remote speakers back to the C520. And this is helpful in something like a lecture hall and so forth, so on, where you're trying to broadcast to a bunch of people when you're doing a phone call, and you can actually put it in a massive size auditorium or something like that and put these speakers around. A large lecture hall would be another place where something like this would be used.
Or just simply you don't want to sit close to somebody.
Or nowadays, with COVID and everything else, if you just don't want to sit that close to people, you can definitely take your own speaker and go sit there by yourself with it. So
exactly,
the safety precaution as well. The next one is the C620. So what we did was the first one obviously had to have cables run to it. In the case of the C620, many people had asked us, well, that's great. It's so cool to have the cordless microphones, but can you build us a conference phone that requires no wires run to the conference phone itself? And the reason for this is many people want to have it portable, but even more importantly, people were tired of drilling holes in their boardroom table that they spend so much money for, and have all these wires and cables hanging off this conference phone in the middle of the table. So we decided to build one, and this was also an industry first, to have both the cordless mics and have the base unit completely cordless. So this access point that you see here will be terminated, maybe say on a side credenza or whatnot, and it has the DEX 6.0 radio in it, which pairs to the base unit, and then the handsets pair back to the conference phone. So now you can basically pick up the C620 and walk around with it and still be on a conference call. You can move the conference phone up and down the boardroom table, where before it was kind of stationary plugged in due to wires, or the wires can only stretch so far. Now you basically have a completely portable base, and the handsets are portable. So first of its kind into the industry as well.
Well, Jim, the other cool thing is that, if you have a conference room and then you'd say you've got a huddle room or an office that's, right next to that, if it's in the range, you could use the same conference phone. You could just take the whole conference phone with you from the office, from the conference room to the huddle room, for example. So, if you've got small rooms that are in the same vicinity, it doesn't require 3 different conference phones.
Agreed.
provided
That's a good point, because more and more people are going to the smaller team type huddle rooms as opposed to the big corporate boardroom that was traditionally there. So yeah, it's a good point, Corey. Definitely a good point. This is just an illustration of slides of what like a small conference or huddle room starting on the left, and then working your way up to even bigger and bigger boardrooms, and then even training type rooms and conference lecture halls type of application. And one of the last pieces of the line, at least currently on the market, is broadcast and paging. This product here called the PA1, it's kind of a famous product that's been around for probably about 10 years now. And no matter what brand of phone somebody sells, they tend to use PA1s. This is a great bridge that has an internal amp, and you can add external amps to it. It'll give you multicast paging capabilities with up to 4 different SIP identities. So it can basically work right off your phone and then page to like a warehouse type environment, and offices and so on and so forth. So you can do multicast paging, which is a huge feature that everybody likes to deploy in a facility. Just a couple quick appendix slides real quick. There's our service providers that we work with, and this even probably isn't current to date. There's even more that we're interop and certified with. So basically we work with all sorts of platforms out there. Then I want to just talk real quickly about our partner program and what we do that separates us from what we're trying from some of our competition. So the first thing we do is we have a map program where we actually have map retail prices. So we really try to keep the price integrity from the online, like I mentioned earlier in the presentation. Also, one of the nice things we do here is a not for resale sample setup. So when you come on and become a dealer at snomamericas.com and send us your information, so on, we'll approve the dealership, the dealer to be onboarded. And then at that point, we'll give you a chance to buy not for resale samples, interop evaluation test samples, at 30 to 45% discount off regular pricing. So this stuff is an invaluable tool to get familiar with the product, interop test it, and get familiar with the goods before you go out to see customers and so on. And this not for resale units can be done right through 888. 888 seamlessly handles this and can take care of it for you. So just inquire with them about NFR samples, and 888, your sales rep at 888 can take care of it for you. We were just doing a quick slide back here a little while ago about work from home type solutions. So we have headsets in the line and so on and so forth. And then the key line type systems that we talked about earlier would be more from like the work from home type environment. So we also currently have, and this is going to change starting on 4/1, but in the meantime, we still have this going on. So this is a trade-in rebate that's an interesting program that we put together this last fiscal year. So this is an end user rebate for the end user, and basically they don't even have to send in the phones that they're replacing. They just need the invoice of what they purchased. So as a dealer or partner of Snom, you can send this to your end user. Your end user will take the invoice you send them with the number of phones that they replaced, and we'll rebate them depending on the phone. We'll rebate them directly up to $20 a phone for the units that they've replaced. So this is an invaluable tool for partners to be able to close sales to end users, knowing that the end users can get a nice big fat rebate at the end based on how many phones they're replacing. What we plan to do, and this is still in the works, but as of April 1st, we're looking to make this into a partner program. So instead of incentivizing the end user, we're looking to change this over in April to actually incentivize the Snom dealers. So look at it almost as a spiff to the Snom dealers, if you will. And there will be more to come on that one. And that can all be found on our Snom Americas website. And then we also do it for our mobility side of the line too. And even on our conference phones, which have some massive rebates on those. So if you know people who need to replace conference phones, there's nice incentive to the end user through 331 on that. Okay, with that one done.
Jim, the last two things I was going to add real quick is you've got other big advantages are, well, we've got Jim Cassidy. We've got sales team that's in North America. For support, you've also got North American support from phone and email. So you can reach somebody by phone, they will answer. If they don't, they'll call you back quickly. But you've got support that you can readily available, that's readily available if you're running into any challenges in the field or just in your initial testing as well. So we've got resources here that you can actually access.
Yeah, Corey, that's a great point. So, because this is a pretty technical business, in addition to just sales support and everything, but we also have all the engineering technical support that's based here either in Canada and or US stateside. So we basically have people here that cover all time zones to be able to support any questions you have in the field. And as a Snom partner, you have access to them. So if you run into a problem in the field or provisioning or whatnot, it's easy to reach out to us. We're here. We seem to work 24/7 almost nowadays, it seems. So what I'd like to do now, I got about 17 minutes left remaining here. And what I want to try to go through is and show the new products that Snom's getting ready to launch this year. So you kind of get a little glimpse of the future here. First of all, we'll start off with the desk phones. So if you remember, we had the D717, which was one of our opening price point color pieces. We're going to come up with the D713. We basically add one more programmable key to the phone, and then that'll be another option here. And these should all be, it says Q1, but they really should be out. Probably May is going to be the availability on all these Q1 listings. The next one's the 785N. So we covered the 785 earlier in the current line. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to actually give an option to take out Bluetooth. Our studies have shown that only about 15% of the people who have Bluetooth on board their phone actually use it. So in light of some of the supply chain constraints, we wanted to be able to offer two different options. So the D785 will still continue to be in the product line, but the D785N will now take Bluetooth out of the phone to hit a lower price point. And since most people don't even use the Bluetooth, we figured it makes a great option. And of course, based on chipset availability, it'll also make sure that we stay heavily in stock on this model as it's the #1 seller. The D7C.
Sorry, one of those are going to be available again?
Those will also be May availability here stateside. The D7C we covered in the previous presentation, which is the color expansion module that's currently on the market. We've already covered the expandable BLF fields and how the power supplies work on those. The exciting part of our line now comes out where we have the new D8 series. So this is a general overview screen, but I'll get into each of the phones themselves as we go. But we're going to start entering into a little bit higher level portion of the line here with the D862. And some of the cool new things that we have here is a tiltable 5-inch LCD display and also a detachable faceplate. So this whole area here where it says Snom underneath all these keys, that can actually be lifted off. And what that will allow us to do is to be able to brand or private label something for a service provider or for customers at certain volume levels, where if they want something that's private branded or private labeled, we could actually do something like this. And one of the neat things is, we have this product, like I said, we'll have this in San Antonio as soon as it becomes available. What we can actually do is take faceplates and do orders for those with a person's logo or a company's logo, put them on there, and you can actually pop off the old Snom logo and then snap in the new one with the other person's private brand. So that's going to be a really unique situation and open up a lot of different businesses for us as well. One of the other things I want to point out too is we mentioned the antibacterial surfaces that we were doing on our handsets, and now we're bringing it to the desk phone. So this lower portion of the phone where you see the keypad, this is actually going to be actually metal. So it won't be your typical ABS plastics. This is definitely going to be higher end product that's pretty high end stuff. So a nice metallic type finish with antibacterial surface will be something else for this. So definitely a really cool new phone. And the new big 5-inch LCD display will be gorgeous. the 865 here, this just steps up on the number of SIP accounts. We move up to 12 here. Now we have 2 USB ports on the side of this thing as well. Detachable faceplate, still 5-inch screen. This will be Q2 availability. Right now we're picturing pretty much like July, August for this type of a product here to come out. We'll also move now into one with full video. So this will be touch screen and video at 30 frames per second. So it's broadcast type video quality. And then we'll now add a third USB port as well. So this is going to be a pretty loaded phone. Definitely a high-end type product with full functionality on this. And that'll be Q4 this calendar year. So probably October, November is where we're looking at for this thing at this point. Then we have the executive desk phone. Once again, 5-inch detachable, tiltable face plates and screens. 16 SIP accounts. Really loaded phone here. Basically another very high-end phone with color screens. Q3 availability. And then we have the 895, which is actually going to get into quite a display here. So now we move up to an 8-inch tiltable touch color screen LCD display. So this is kind of going to be the Mercedes-Benz of our product line here at this point. So then this one here is also planned for Q1 of next calendar year. And then to top it all off here, we actually add back into the previous model. Now we're adding in the video right to the top of the phone, and we go 8-inch. So this is absolutely top of the line. We can't figure out anything else to put into the phone. It's an Android operating system, and this will be the creme de la creme of the product line.
Jim, did you touch on the DECT handsets as well?
I will come up here in just a second.
Okay.
And then also we're going to build the color sidecar just like we did in the D7 series. So this series will have its own sidecar as well. And Corey, here we go.
On cue.
Now, just because you asked for it, we are here to provide. The D801 handset. So this is going to be a DECT 6.0 cordless handset that will work with all the D8 series. This is one of my favorite parts because currently I have a desk set here in my office, and unfortunately we don't have a cordless handset that I can leave around my house for it. So instead, every time the phone rings, I have to run down the hallway, bounce off the walls, and try to make a last-minute ditch for the phone call and grab the handset. So when we come out with the cordless handset, that'll cover the rest of my house, and I won't have to run through the house with bruised shoulders left and right everywhere. The D805 will be the add-on video camera that we can also have, so that'll plug in through your USB ports, on the phone that we talked about earlier. So 2 optional accessories that we'll add so you can actually add on and expand out on your phone. I think the cordless handset will be an interesting piece, especially for more remote workers that aren't going back to the office. I can see the cordless handset being quite useful for home remote workers. Basically, just a quick differentiation slide between the D785 and the D865 series, or the D7 and 8 series, I should say. Just basically the model notes on what else we're adding to the D8 over the D7 series. All right, next part of the presentation here is keyline. So we talked about keyline of what we currently have in the M100 series, but this is going to be a real game changer of a product. This is where we get into multi-cell capability with keyline emulation. So what we basically have here is the M500, which is the access point that has a DECT 6.0 radio built on board. Now, what we'll do is the first generation will be able to handle 2 of these M500s. So picture them as little repeaters or cell towers for each other. And now you can add on desk phones, which even though it shows a cord, the phone itself is cordless back to the M500. And then the M55, which is the handset that pairs back to the M500.
Just a quick note on that desk set, it will need to be plugged in, right? So unlike the M18, the monochrome one desk set, it has a rechargeable battery. This M58 is a beautiful display, but it will need to be plugged into power.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can do something. Yeah, we can kind of see it from here. In addition to this M55, we're going to have an M56, which will be a ruggedized one, and that'll be great for companies like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a Tractor Supply, in those type of environments where you can take the ruggedized handset out in the lumber yard, put it on forklift trucks in a warehouse, et cetera, et cetera. The real feature on these products here, and I know it's hard to zoom in too far any further than this actually, but you'll actually see key lines here for line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, and line 6. What that'll allow you to do is, just like we showed on the other screen back in the current inline presentation, was the fact that you'll actually be able to answer each of those blinky line keys on your handset. So now you'll actually be able to answer 6 calls easily, put them on hold all on your handset, and be able to jump back and forth, all using key line emulation instead of parking calls on PBXs and all this other crazy stuff. This will make it nice and simple to be able to use the phones. A nice big 2.4-inch color LCD on this one, of course the 5-inch on the desktop. It's just a quick illustration of the M500. So you can actually have 8 decked phones in keyline operation per base. 48 decked phone calls in a multi-cell environment. So basically any of these type of businesses that would need, 8, 10, 12, 20 employees, 30 employees. And this is a very scalable system at really incredible pricing to be able to cover most business environments other than anything that's up in the enterprise space. So this is very scalable from a small little shop, like a small little candle store with 1 handset and a base unit, all the way into scaling it up into somebody in a mall where you have maybe 2 or 3 employees with handsets, and then you can scale it into something that's even larger where you have a warehouse and a front office, and then you can have multi-cell capability and wander throughout the facility. So really flexible system, and it will cover quite a bit of range. And then the second iteration.
That won't have repeaters, right? It's just, you just add the bases, correct?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, that's a good point, Corey. I'll go back here one thing. There's a bullet point I wanted to hit here. So single cell, which is basically when we first release it, it will be able to take 2 of the M500s. But then the second iteration, which will be a software and firmware update, will go into multi-cell where we can go up to 6 M500s. So that will be able to cover, almost a Walmart store easily and give handsets to everyone in a Walmart store. So, and then still all have keyline access. So a really cool environment for the retail type space as well. Here's the M55 that we talked about here. It's integrated Bluetooth for the headset support off the handset, which will be super hands-free. We can just put this on a belt clip, which would be neat. Antibacterial plastics. Once again, we're putting that into the product line. And then there's an idea of the desk phone that would go with this as well. So you'll be able to get a desk phone for basically somebody maybe in the accounting office or the cash office, and then give handsets to the people out on the floor, selling in the retail environment. Okay, next one. Looks like we're doing pretty good. So we have the C710, C720. These are going to be color display screen conference phones that we're going to be introducing later this year. So it'll have Bluetooth near field communications, so you'll be able to add some devices to it from Bluetooth side of things, antimicrobial or antibacterial plastics, of course. I said that's a big thing within our product line based on all the COVID that's going on in the world today, is to bring antibacterial plastics to the marketplace. Then we'll enter with the C750. This is going to be color screen. It's also going to be a touch LCD display too. So this will be pretty much for your higher end type boardrooms. We mentioned about the PA1 in the current lineup right now. Unfortunately, the PA1, like I said, is about 10 years old. So it is time for it to get a little bit of an overhaul. So what we did was we're going to launch the PA1 probably around the June timeframe. It'll replace the PA1 that's currently in the marketplace. And this will add the 600 ohm output for better amp compatibility from companies like Viking, et cetera, so we can use more powerful amplifiers. But all the features like multicast and everything else will still be there in the PA1 Plus. Business consumer, we wanted to talk a little bit about getting into the space where we have the remote worker. So we'll come with a line of headsets that'll be corded. They will be the first ones to come out. This will be the May timeframe. Basically, these will be corded headsets, really nice padding over the headsets, higher end call controls within the cord, and the nice LED backlit display here in the earpiece so that you can see who's on a phone call and what the status of a call is. So if you're on a call, it'll be red. You know, if you're in non-call status, it'll be green, so people will know to come tap you on the shoulder and get your attention. It'll be both mono and stereo options. And the microphone boom stand has a nice click type feel to it and go 270 degrees around a rotation. Then, of course, after that, the next natural thing to do is once we have the headset tooled up and ready to go, then we make them Bluetooth. And then we also make them in the same platform as DECT, which would have a nice, easy tie-in to all the DECT products that we've already talked about in the product line.
Hey, Jim, just to jump over, I'm not sure the answer to this, so I can definitely follow up, but there was a question, do we know what codecs will be used in the new video phones?
I believe Opus will be the codec that we're using in the new phones.
In which ones they'll support. So yeah, I can confirm that if I can always look that up and follow back up too. But
Okay.
Opus. Okay.
Yeah, Opus will be the codec that we're going to use in them. I got, wow, 59 minutes. That was incredible. We made it all within the 2-hour range. I'll pass it back to you if you want to do a final wrap.
Sure. Thanks, Jim, for jumping on. Thank you, Corey, for adding in to the information about the Snom overview. It was a great webinar. We really appreciate the partnership that we have with Snom and really appreciate the partnerships that we have with all of our partners and customers. Thank you very much. This will conclude our webinar today. If you do have any questions or require any additional information, please feel free to reach out to our team, or you can reach out to Jim or Corey directly. Thank you again and have a great day.